If you've ever been on hold for 20 plus minutes and then heard your call is important to us, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another edition of Live Trading. Remember, this is the last show this week because the market is closed tomorrow for Good Friday, for Easter weekend. So despite the print, despite the economic print tomorrow, the market will not be open. So we're going to have to do all of our trading here today. And then also, happy opening day. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Good morning, everybody. Love to see the welcomes here. Good morning, X-Sniper, Market Sniper, Smoke Tuna, Neville, Sally, Christoph, Bernhard, Beach Bum, and everyone from A to Z. Good morning. Happy opening day. Happy Thursday. Happy Synthetic Friday for us traders here as we have the day off tomorrow for Good Friday. Not only do I have my main man 13 here, but I have a super special guest that we didn't even tease. We're just going to go ahead and bring him on. Downtown Nick Brown. What's going on, Nick? News by Nick joining us.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to be back. It's been a long time. So Easter break has been counting down for months, and I always have to make a return to the show.
All right. So we are blessed with Nick's presence because of Easter. I will take that. Nick, thanks for joining us. Really great to have you back here. Let's go ahead and dive into what we see here. We're going to leave you some extra time to cover the news, my man, because we've always been running out of time here. Let's first take a look at the SPY. So far, we're just kind of holding in there, right? We are about flat here in the pre-market. If I flip over to some of the news here, you can see we did get the jobless claims in today. A little bit light there, 210 versus the 212 estimate. Nick, I'll have you cover the rest of the data prints when you have a chance. But so far here, SPY relatively flat, not a whole lot of action on that. All of the action, if we look inside, all of the action came in the last 45 minutes of the market yesterday. In fact, most of the volume traded in that window too. We were still under the 100-day average, but we caught up significantly as we had this push into the close. So looking at this today, I'd be looking for, do we break out of this channel, right? Do we actually keep trading sideways here? Do we break out of the top here, 523.55? Do we end up breaking down? We've talked about a lot of these downside targets that never really got reached. 13, I know you were talking about the 20-day moving average. Let me go ahead and actually add that one on here. That's actually something that we've used recently, but we really haven't had any pullback. Now, I don't know how you folks feel about holding positions over the weekend, exposing yourself to that risk over the long weekend. I'm certainly not really considering adding new positions. There'd have to be some type of catalyst for that. But before that happens, we will take a look at what we can day trade here today. 13, you got anything on the SPY and where we're at here today?
Well, this is we're seeing that pattern continue to repeat. So the next step to this process is to see new all-time highs. Not sure we're going to get that today, or if it's going to be something we see on Monday, but that would be the pattern repeating. So that's just what I'm looking at until that pattern stops repeating. Okay,
there we go. Nick, you got anything on the news prints here today? What did you think about that?
Yeah, I was going to say initial jobless claims came in at 210,000. Estimate was for 212,000. And so we are seeing this tick lower. And next Friday is actually the March jobs report already. So initial jobless claims hinting at a little bit of a possible at a hot labor market as jobs are continuing to be filled. Estimates, I think, around 200 to 300,000. I'm still looking at around 300,000 next month for the March jobs report, just given the jobless claims number. And then we had GDP for Q4 today. It came in at 3.4%. This was the second revision. Estimate was for 3.2%. Core PCE price index, Q4, 2%. Estimate was for 2.1%. So a little lighter than expected. But again, we're still in this debate, is the Fed going to be able to cut this year? Estimates for price or for Fed cuts have been continuing to move lower. A lot of the banks and research firms have continued to dwindle back their cuts or push them out later. I'm not truly convinced given the Powell speech that we just had this month, that there is going to be any cutting this year. It may have to happen later in the year, but we do have Powell speaking tomorrow at 11:30 at an event. So I'm not sure if he's going to highlight any economic conditions, even with the market closed. We even have PCE tomorrow, released at 8:30. The government is still open, but you know that the government is currently in a circus right now in Washington. So
yeah, I was just going to say, you covered every single bullet point I was thinking there. Great to have you back, Nick. And I'm with you on that. Powell speaking tomorrow. Part of me thinks that there probably won't be anything huge, knowing that the market's closed. He's really kind of tried to thread the needle this entire time to begin with. So I'd kind of be shocked if they depart from that and say something that really kind of upsets the market or something of that nature. So I'm with you there on that. All right. Really quickly, I do want to remind you the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool, the best prop firm out there. Huge pool of stocks to trade. You can trade any of the stocks pretty much that we're looking at. I actually can't recall the last time they didn't have a stock available. So really, really good stuff. Easy way to get above that 25K threshold, or if you need more buying power, hit them up. They can help you. They've been great to us. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stocks that are moving here today. First one that we are going to deal with here is going to be Avtx. Now, we talked about this. Nick, I know you were just talking about the rate cuts there. Yesterday in happy hour, a majority of our discussion was focused around the rate cuts. We did have one of the happy hour members observe this pop and this piece of news live. One of the things that I said here was that, hey, this is probably going to be in play tomorrow. This actually seems like really, really good news. Shortly after happy hour ended, this actually took another leg up in the after hour session. Today in the pre-market session, we've actually come back to the top end of the range. But I'm going to wait for this to open. We're going to see what's going on here. This ticker is AVTX, Avalo Therapeutics. The newsprint here, Avalo shares are trading higher after the company announced it acquired a phase 2 ready. I'm not going to try to pronounce this because it's got all types of crazy characters in it. Therapeutic, which refers to as AVTX 009 through the acquisition of privately held Almada Bio. The company also announced a private placement financing of up to $185 million. So here we go. AVTX popping 13. What do you make of this morning?
That's a massive move.
Up 300% here.
Yeah, just a little bit. But that's also in part because it's got an 800,000 share float. So very, very easy to, just as Tim was pointing out, very, very low float. That's in part because they did a 1-for-240 reverse split on December 29th. So that is why they have such a low float. That is why it is so easy to move around. The news, on the other hand, is absolutely wonderful, in my opinion. They just picked up a company that is already in the process of clinical trials, and it looks like it might have some promise. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But that seems to be a really good acquisition. Now we just need to see it pay off for them.
Okay, and really quickly here on AVTX, this is, that's right. We've got another guest here, so I've got to add this camera. There we go. AVTX, we are going to take the pre-market channel here, and we're going to monitor to see if this breaks. Now, 13, I'm really glad that you covered the float, the ridiculous reverse split that we've talked about, and super, super low float. So a couple of things here. I'm not sure that some of this formation is actually going to pan out here today. This might be a little bit more difficult to trade here today because of that. So we'll see here on AVTX. We'll see if we get a nice clean entry, but this is one of the things that I'm looking at on this one. Okay, let's get back to the movers tool here. Next, we have ticker XLO. And actually, I actually just know, it's on the list here coming up anyway. So let me go back to this. Here is XLO. This had a huge pop earlier. It's actually popped as high as 319, it looks like. It's come into its VWAP and it's kind of riding right beneath it. Xlo Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced an exclusive licensing agreement with Gilead Science for a tumor-activated IL-12 program. The company announced a $11.3 million private placement equity financing. So XLO, huge pop, still up just about 200%. You got anything on this high flyer here?
Aside from that news headline, they not really a whole lot, just a 29, almost 22 million share float. So going to still be okay to push around, but not as easy as some of these sub 10 million ones. But do have some levels for this, so we'll see what we can get out of it. Like AVTX, I don't know how high this is going to go. I know that AVTX is blue sky territory. This one's not, so this one has some levels to chew through still.
Upside target here on XLO looks like 234 for me. Downside here that it really needs to hold is kind of 190. I know we're already at 188. Looks like we actually dipped beneath this channel already. Want to make sure this holds up here before we take this for a long. Next, and I actually saw that this was going full send as we were talking about the first two stocks here. This is, of course, Bdrx, Biotech Pharmaceuticals. I can't place the exact day, but I feel like we absolutely traded this off of the relative volume scanner several times on this show. This ticker absolutely sounds familiar. Huge move here today. If I take a look at the news, you can see here that we have Biotech's MTX 110 shows promise in extending life expectancy against aggressive brain cancers. Okay, now real quick, I have not read through this PR, but that headline right there, that sounds awesome. That sounds like that's a real good piece of news here. I mean, aggressive brain cancer, that's absolutely horrible. If you got any type of treatment or help with that actually sounds good here. Bdrx, as you can see, absolutely ripping prior to the open here. Now, this is actually good, right? Because I want to see this pull. I want to see this shake out weak hands. And if we're able to do that, we should actually get some pretty good entry here. Bdrx, what are you saying here, 13?
I didn't cover this one, so I don't have any data on it. The other ones that I have are getting mentioned in chat, so I don't really have anything to add to this.
No problem. I can skip it. And we'll actually, like I said, this is just kind of running recently. Volume really started to pick up here. Lynn, good to see you this morning. Bio and pot seem to be a theme this week. Indeed. And we've been talking about biotechnology being a theme. Maybe pot and biotech join forces. Who knows?
Yeah.
What was that?
The things we put in our body, right?
All the things we put in our body. And Nick, looks like you're still getting some good mornings from the crew. Glad to have you back. Let's go. Okay. Joshua saying pharma is so unstable. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Well, I'll tell you what, some of the traders in here that have made absolute bank on some of these bio names don't think the prizes are very stupid. However, your warning here, actually true. Be very, very careful with some of those biotechs. One of the things that we're talking about here for these particular setups are day trades. If you're going to hold stuff like this overnight, be aware of what's going on. Be aware of possible offerings. Know if the company has cash. Know if they have revenue. Know how they sit in those regards. But point taken.
Not knowing would be the stupid game, I believe.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. Okay. Next here is going to be ticker PIK, and this is KidPik. Guess what? We have talked about this one quite a bit in the past. I actually didn't see any news here. Yep, still don't really see much of anything. I know we had a PR there on Monday. I'm not sure that that's driving it here. KidPik, though, ticker PIK. This stock up 73% here today. We're actually holding out right beneath the VWAP. We do have a nice, higher lows formation in here. I know this one was a little bit lower than the previous one, but it did a good job holding that VWAP and setting new highs. KidPik. This one's, we've traded this before. It's been thin, been a little bit difficult to trade. Definitely want this to kind of shake out and give you a good entry before giving this one a shot. You had anything on KidPik?
They had some news earlier this week that they had regained compliance with NASDAQ as far as the minimum bid requirement goes. That's really the only news that I'm seeing on this. They do have a 938,000 share float, so very, very low, easy to push around. They did a 1-for-5 reverse split earlier this month as well on the 7th of March. But aside from that, there's nothing really I'm seeing that's driving this today. So this just might be on a list of things to pump that they just decided to go through and say, oh, hey, look, they regained compliance. Let's push on that. So that's the only thought I have on that. But that's that's the data that I think that's relevant to why it's moving.
Okay, if we hold right here and we start pushing up on volume 650, definitely a spot to take a look at. Okay, got a couple more that I want to run through here, and then I want to hear from Nick on what we've missed from Nick's life and what he sees out there in the news flow. Next here is going to be ticker CZOO. I think I saw somebody mentioning this earlier here today. I beg your pardon, I can't remember the handle, but I'm pretty sure that this already got mentioned here this morning. This is Kazoo Group. We did trade as high as $20. We've really kind of come back off that. Looks like we're actually trying to break lower here and just about $1.50 beneath the VWAP. I got no news on CZOO. Anyone else got anything on this one?
If anything, it's probably just a relative volume move. It was moving yesterday.
Yep.
So I think it's just that's really all it is. I'm not seeing any news on why it's moving today, so I just believe it's a continuation from the momentum yesterday.
Yeah, and as 13's mentioning, the last 2 days have actually had some relative volume, with yesterday being the clear winner. So I agree with you, 13. Looks like this is just kind of a continuation move. Real quick here, I wanted to mention MISO. MISO, this was on deck the day before last. Yesterday, we kind of pulled back, but we didn't break down, which was really good. To this morning, looks like we're actually ramping here close to the open. It looks like we did. No, this is not a news PR. It looks like this is just kind of a summary PR here on some of the movers here. So I don't really see any fresh news here on MISO. Looks like a kind of a continuation after yesterday's rest. One of the spots that I would definitely pay attention to here is 403, especially if we pull back. Are we able to hold this? I think if we do, we might actually trade higher here on the next move. Keep your eye on MESO.
Just real quick before we move on to Nick, I wanted to cover a couple real quick that were getting mentioned. iBio, that movement we're seeing this morning, I believe, is a continuation from yesterday. So just like the one we were just talking about, we're seeing the same thing, in my opinion. The only other one that I thought that was interesting that was on the scanners for me this morning was AKBA. We've traded this one before. We called it Admiral. That's right. We called it Admiral Akbar. This one just got FDA approval. Does have a pretty large float, 207 million shares. Don't know how well this one's going to move compared to these other ones we've mentioned, but that is the deal with Akbar.
Yep. All right. We'll see where any of those go. We definitely have some targets here today. Of course, we're going to be watching Tesla real quick before I turn it over to Nick here. We'll take a look at Tesla here. Looks like it's sinking here. Now, don't be alarmed, because yesterday Tesla sold off like crazy, bounced back, and then set new highs. So for you traders out there looking to trade something, definitely keep an eye on Tesla. This is going to be one that I'm going to watch. Okay, Nick, I know it's been a while since you've been on here. You'd probably be extremely busy with school, which I completely understand. But what's going on with News by Nick, either that we missed or something that's going on here this morning?
Well, Ryan, within the last few minutes, we just actually got a short on MSTR by Carousel Capital. They literally just put this release out on Twitter or on X about 10 minutes ago. They say that they are short MSTR and long Bitcoin, and they say that crypto trades often get carried away, and MSTR is no exception. The BTC, so the Bitcoin price implied in MSTR shares, is now over 177,000, an unjustifiable 2.6 times the spot price of Bitcoin. And they go on to say that MSTR bulls tout the lack of fees versus other BTC investment vehicles, but BlackRock's IBIT and Fidelity's FBTC only charge 0.25%. This modest level of fee avoidance is not worth paying more than twice the price of Bitcoin. So that literally is just breaking within the last 10 minutes. And then at 9:30 this morning, here in about 5 minutes, the sentencing proceedings for FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried will be taking place. So we'll be bringing you that news here in just a few minutes when that is hitting the wires. And overall, just loving the discussion of the different stocks and just talking about Tesla, guys. There have been so many issues with Tesla. It's not even funny of how many people that I know that have a Tesla that are now regretting that decision of buying it just because of so many issues that they've had, the software updates that they have to comply with, and just the amount of stress. There actually was a crash in my neighborhood. Well, not in my neighborhood, but about 15 minutes away from me. The guy literally plugged his Tesla in at Target and literally went into the creek. It literally went from 0 to 60 after he unplugged it. I don't know any more details regarding that incident, but it just shows the level of how many crashes Teslas are involved in. We actually avoid Teslas. We don't want a Tesla. I've always wanted a Tesla, Ryan, and 13, but I am avoiding myself from Tesla just given the price of it, the level of amount of electric it takes. I'm just avoiding Tesla all. And we've seen from many analysts, they are downgrading Tesla's price target this morning. We had Dan Ives last night. RBC, Deutsche Bank, all cutting deliveries just because of the amount of level of deliveries and production that is being halted. And we even have China wars going on, as you know. So many XPEV and XPeng and so many different Chinese makers in this competitive market. I would stay away from Tesla, and I would buy yourself a Honda, Toyota, a Nissan. There's many other cars you can get instead of a Tesla.
Yeah. So a couple of things there. So first of all, Nick, it's amazing. You come back for one day, you bring us a breaking short report as it happens, as well as plenty of other news. Can you please keep coming back? We really, really appreciate that. And as far as the Sam Bankman-Fried trial goes, if you're keeping an eye on that, big shout. Let us know what's going on with that, because we probably won't be seeing that if we're focused on stocks. You know, you're bringing up a lot of these points about Tesla. Nick, I don't know how your winter was here, but here in the Midwest, we had an epic cold snap that lasted like 2 full weeks, and the amount of Teslas that would not start was not something I had seen prior to that. So you're making a lot of good points there. To your point there about other vehicles, obviously Toyota Motors has been the big winner here as they focused on the hybrids. That doesn't have nearly as many problems as the full EVs. I know there's a lot of talk about Tesla being a tech stock. Tesla's got their hands in other things. All of that is fine. The one thing I will say about Tesla is this stock's an absolute monster to trade. So if you don't have good feelings about the company or EVs or any of that, don't take it off your radar for day trading purposes, because the stock often makes huge moves. And if what you need is volatility, you can absolutely find it there. Nick, it is so good to have you back, man. We are about 2 minutes from open. We're going to hit that. It's interesting here. You're mentioning that MicroStrategy play here. MicroStrategy actually still up about 1% here in the pre-market. I know that this normally trades thin, especially in the extended sessions. It'll be interesting to see what kind of effect that short report has on the stock when the market actually opens. So we're going to be doing that just under 2 minutes here. Actually, I think we're even closer than that. Yeah, we're about 1.5 minutes away from opening here. All right, what else do you folks want to take a look at? I did see someone mention Nikola, and I know we just talked about EVs. I'm sorry that I'm bringing this up, but I have to. I have to, because you have to give credit where credit is due. This stock, over the past couple of days, has been running. We all have talked about the Nikola fraud, the Trevor Milton, all of that stuff that's in the past. We've talked about that. We actually had a gentleman that came on not yesterday, but the day before in happy hour that said, hey, watch this stock in the near term. This stock might actually hit $1. And sure enough, here we are. I had a huge run yesterday. Looks like we might be testing $1 today. I'm just going to say this, full disclosure, I'm not trading this stock. I don't trust the company. I've donated money to the Nikola Fund, as I've said in the past here. I'm not looking forward to do that again, or I'm not looking forward to doing that again. But it is tough to deny. I mean, recently, look at this. Look at the move that this thing is on. Started at about 66 cents, March 25th, currently testing $1 here. If this is something that you want to trade, be aware that this is going on, but not necessarily my cup of tea. Okay, let's see what other. Go ahead.
I was going to just add some color to that. This is actually when that gentleman mentioned this, he was mentioning the build out of hydrogen infrastructure for fuel cell vehicles. That's what's moving Nikola right now. It got its start, I believe, on last Thursday when they reported an opening of their refueling station in Southern California. Then today, they announced that they had a commercial hydrogen fueling station in Alberta, Canada. So what he was saying about this infrastructure rollout is being the reason for Nikola to move up. That's starting to play out right now. And that headline that came out today, early this morning, about the Alberta station helped push this up even further. We're starting to sell off now, as I can see on my 5-minute chart, but I think that that idea of the fuel cells was great. And here
yeah, insurance guy says, let's make a few bucks so I can go cut the lawn and get a suntan. That doesn't sound half bad. Who did I just run over there? Was that you, Nick?
No, I just said we're open.
Okay, sorry. I just want to make sure I didn't run somebody over there. My bad. All right, we are open. Let's see what's going on here. Nikola first move is back here. By the way, DJT, that crazy stock pushed up above 69. That's knifing here. For me, I'm just going to stay away from this. This seems to be a little bit too volatile for me. I don't necessarily trust it. Big moves, though. We'll see if we get another setup. DJT, first move here is down. Kid Pick from the list. This is ticker PIK. This actually broke beneath the VWAP and is Actually, I think it's trying to hold in there, although that first move was down. MESO, we'll take a look at that here real quick. That is ripping. So that is now taken off the pre-market highs, ticker MESO. FLGC getting mentioned with a big candle there. That was one of Flora Growth. This is one of those cannabis companies. How are some of the other cannabis names doing? Like CGC, I think Wiss mentioned this earlier. CGC, first move here is down. How about Tilray? Down. SNDL was a recent mover in that sector. That's also down. So it looks like FLGC bucking the trend there. iBio being mentioned. This was a big runner from yesterday. This back to the VWAP. Great call here on iBio.
Had some support from the 65 VMA on the 5-minute. The ones from this morning, they're going down. The big ones, AVTX and XLO. Actually, XLO is halted now.
ALLG called here by Tuna. This popping. Is this halted? I don't see this one. XLO indeed 13. That is halted. Good call here. Halted to the downside on XLO. That really kind of broke out of that. AVTX, you said, was moving down as well. Let's see if it snaps that 1629.
Yeah, I'd be looking for support around about 1440 to 1450 on AVTX. We'll see if we can get that.
1440, 1450. Let's take a look and eyeball where that is in here. 1440 right here. So you're looking at basically these bottoms from yesterday's after hour where it held on its first pullback. Okay, gotcha. This thing actually looks pretty spread too, right? I guess the spread kind of changes, goes from about 10 cents to 30 cents or somewhere in between. We'll see if we can actually make some sense of that.
How's Bitcoin doing? Are we leaking or going? Or
Bitcoin
rising?
popped this morning on the futures to a high of 71,980, but it has pulled off those levels here by about 200 points.
Okay, so we're kind of in a bit still in that consolidation that we started getting from about 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning.
Yep.
So
that's exactly it.
Need to break out of that or break down. Choose a direction. We'll go there.
iBio popping here. Remember the pre-market highs that we had here on iBio 492. Remember, this was a continuation, right? No fresh news on iBio here.
I didn't see any fresh news. Yeah. I think it's just a continuation of the news from yesterday. Yeah.
Sally mentioning OUST, that a little bit of a pop here. Not a whole lot of volume, but this had a huge run yesterday, and it looks like it's trying to pop again here today. Nova also being mentioned alongside that. That very, very similar chart here. Again, volume's not huge on these names, at least not yet.
AVTX trying to turn around. Let's see if we can get it.
Oops, AVTX.
Looks like Kid Pick is trying to find the bottom too. I'd like to see it hold above 465.
SOUN popping here. This is nice call there, Market Sniper. Watching that one. How about Bdrx? That was getting sent right before the open. Okay, first move here is down. Wait for this one to firm up here. Tuna, I'd be curious to see if your reversal pattern ends up showing up here on Bdrx. Might have a trade on that one.
SOUN, I'd look for an upside target of 650. That's the next level I have to the upside.
EKS mentioning GOOS. This is Goose. Canada Goose. Or did I just say Canada? Oh my God.
Talk to me, Goose.
I should penalize myself, Nick. That was unbelievable. Amateur move right there. Okay, anyway, Canada Goose. They make the really comfy, fluffy jackets that keep you really warm. This popping right here out of the gate. Becca calling MAXN. I'm not even sure I'm familiar with this one. Maxion Solar Technologies. Interesting. We've actually seen a huge move in some of the solar stocks recently. Here's a look at ENPH. Really had a strong day yesterday. TAN, this is going to be your solar ETF. Again, another strong day yesterday. Maybe this is trying to...
I recall seeing some news headline about solar stocks, and I can't recall what it was. Anybody in the chat, or maybe even Nick, if you saw something, let me know what it is. But I could have sworn there was a big news headline that lifted all solar stocks. I just can't remember what it was.
I'll see if I can find that as well. You know, the one thing about solar stocks that we've discussed, not a great field to be in during a high interest rate environment. Right. Now there's more talk about rates staying higher for longer and this and that, and maybe even hikes if things don't go well. Anyway, we'll see on solar. We'll see if we can find that solar comment that you were referring to.
All right.
ALLG getting called again here by Smoke Tuna. That looks like that is trying to move higher here.
Was it the one yesterday, 13? Shares of solar stocks were trading higher following a report indicating 2 solar companies are working on American-made panels that could enable U.S. solar projects.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
That
the
is
one.
it. Look at this.
Because most of the solar
Even
panels are
taking a
made in
minute.
China. Most of the solar panels that in the world are made in China. So that brings the solar panel manufacturing back to America. And I think you'll probably end up getting a better quality solar panel that way too.
I think you're right.
So I think that was the big headline. I think that's why solar stocks are moving.
Real quick here, BDRX looking like this is about to break out here. Now it's stopped at this 175. It's pulling back to VWAP. Boy, this has given me memories of how we used to trade, right? Let's see if we hold this VWAP here and move back towards those highs.
Oh, I need to check something.
I'm taking some right here. Let's see if we can move back towards those highs here. If we snap 145 to the downside, let's see. Come on, BDRX.
GREE has been a great trading vehicle as well. I know some folks that have been trading that one, over the years. So I hope you get a good trade out of that one. I've seen that one traded quite a bit.
JK saying ALLG still moving from the Ford news since Tuesday. Let me go back and check that out. ALG halted now. Is that? Yes, it is. Miso halted. XLO halted again. Oh yeah, that didn't sound good, did it? 13's losing it, folks. Look out.
That was funny.
I didn't even realize what I was doing. It just kind of happened.
XLO is unhalted.
Oh,
it's not so unhalted. It's not so halted anymore.
We're going off the rails here. This is trouble. BDRX looks like this is trading up here. Remember that 175, or excuse me, 173. If we end up popping that spot here, I'll sell into strength BDRX. A little bit of size above at that 175. We'll see if we end up getting that here. BDRX.
Looks like and XLO, it's trying to hold the 165 level. What's funny now?
I'm just laughing at the chat here. Sometimes they say laughter is the best medicine. I gotta say I agree with them. I gotta say I agree with them. Laughter is the best medicine.
Sound still ripping. I still have a 650 upside target for if we keep going here. And then we might encounter resistance, or we might blow through it. But 650 is the next level I think we have to look forward to with SOUN.
Okay. Dope the G. Awesome handle here. Are you guys covering Alta Group IPO, ticker MMA? So first of all, we will cover anything, especially if it's moving here. One of the things that we're trying to do here is apply a processed approach to trading anything that's moving in the market for the purpose of making better trades. So if that's IPOs and starts moving, we can absolutely take a look at that. I will say, though, I haven't done any research on that. I'm not familiar with what it is. Would love to hear some context about that, or if any of you folks know, let us know. Let us know. Let me know when that opens. We can absolutely take a look at it and see if there's a trade to be had.
As the ticker implies, it is a mixed martial arts organization. It enables global martial arts and combat sports industry to maximize monetization opportunities available to the sector by increasing consumer participation in the sport and building upon existing community offerings within the sector. Okay. So it is MMA related. I don't know anything beyond that. I'm going to tell you that it's pricing their 6.5 million IPO at $5 a share. Don't know what time that's supposed to open, but that's the data I've got. Looks like Avtx is now halted.
Looks like BDRX about to pop this top off here. Let's see if we can break this 173, 175 area. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Let's see if we can get some green on the screen here with one of these smaller names early on. Come on, BDRX, take us to those highs.
Oh, it's going to go on a shirt for sure.
Which one? Take us to the highs?
No, Miso halted.
Oh, Miso halted. Okay. Oh my God. Yeah, that's going to be good.
Amazing.
Here we go. 175 up, BDRX. Let's pop above. Come on, let's pop above. Pop above so I can sell into the strength. Oh, look at the pullback. This is what we wanted to avoid, folks. This is what we wanted to avoid. Let's see if we actually resolve higher here. Definitely not going to let the trade go red. Should have sold right at that 175. They're actually bringing in a little bit more size above that too. Excuse me, right below that. 174, 175 got the size here. Looks like we're trying to grind back up here. BDRX. Dope the G, do we go live every day? Yes, every day that the market is open. So when you tune in tomorrow, we will not be live because the market is closed for Good Friday. But otherwise, Monday through Friday, every day here. Bdrx, I'm going to take this before it ends up coming back in and wiping out the gains. Really should have sold up at that 175, but let's see if that ends up breaking here. We'll keep an eye on that. I don't want to stay married. Smoke Tuna here saying Bdrx could flush exactly, which is why I want to get out of the way. If it's going to do that, let it do that without me in it. We'll buy it again if it sets up again. I also don't want to stay married to one of these small names. I want to be able to flip around. A lot going on here. What do you got, 13?
I was just mentioning coin. It was being talked about earlier, and since we're on the topic of Bitcoin, this is looking like it's trying to break out of this, these highs that have been putting in since it opened. We also had this consolidation from earlier this morning that it's trying to get above. I think once we get above that, we'll call it 265 area, it's going to go kind of like how it is right now.
Looks like what we really want this to do is this consolidation area. It's actually very apparent on that 1 hour chart there. Good call here on coin. Oliver saying, do you guys only cover penny stocks or actual stocks? Well, penny stocks can be actual stocks, but I know what you mean here. And again, just to kind of go back to what we're doing here as a thesis, we will cover anything that's moving. Right? Yeah. If there is a junky small stock moving and there is money to be made, we'll take a look at that. If it's Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, SMCI, the big names moving, we will take a look at that. What do you want to see here? What are you trading? Let's look at it.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because some of these, the big movers from yesterday, like Apple and Tesla, well, they're down today. Let's take a look at the other ones that were down yesterday and see how they're doing, because I'm sure they're going to be up, because that's just been kind of what we've been seeing with these Magnificent 7 or Mag 10 or however many there are. They tend to trade among each other. They kind of rotate. So
they do, and you're absolutely right. It's the spec rotation. By the way, Tesla here, big pop out of the open, pull back right down to that 176.27 level. We actually marked this level off days ago. It's still holding up here. Now it looks like we have another bounce going here on Tesla. This one's stopping at the VWAP so far. Let's see if we end up going higher here. Tesla absolutely been volatile. Lynn and Randy, where are you at out there? What are we looking at here on Tesla? This thing's been crazy.
Yeah, I remember Nvidia was down yesterday, so now it's slightly up today. Not really getting the big recovery yet, so. But it's, just the rotation that we've been seeing. Now we also might be seeing some rotation a little bit out of these and into some of the more beat up value names that have a lot of upside. I'm seeing a lot of that too.
NVIDIA here, by the way, this 3-minute chart on NVIDIA looks similar to the 5-minute chart for the NASDAQ, meaning that the first move was a little bit down, but we actually have gone higher here. Are we green yet? Not quite green. About to go red-green here on the NASDAQ. ALLG, this is one that was called earlier. Looks like this was halted and is now open.
There goes coin.
BDRX, are we coming for run number 2 here? It's still holding in there. Still holding. Looks like it did actually pull beneath that VWAP too. This will be, I'm going to wait for this to firm up here. I don't feel great about this. BDRX, at least we did book some small green there to start the day. STOK, this has been a recent mover, this falling back into the channel.
Trader Isaac mentioned Oust about a minute or so ago, and that one is, it's putting in a bit of a pattern here. I need to see if it continues to do so, but that one worth watching. Maybe see we go higher if it can hold VWAP.
Okay, so far it is holding it. I think Sally was watching Oust here this morning as well. Lynn and Randy, these guys even cover hot dogs moving, PTLO. Look, Lynn and Randy, updated trade plan here. Updated trade plan here. The 600 store expansion, I'm not sure that this management team is going to be capable of executing that the way that I had hoped. So being down on the stock here, having an average of a low 18s on the stock, I'll say this. We get above 20, I'm going to look to, at minimum, lighten, maybe even go all out. The wake me up in 10 years at 100, I just don't see it unless the management team turns over. But I will update you on that position. I will say the way that this stock has traded over the last couple of years has soured me on the group of people running this. No question. Oracle, another stock being mentioned here by Elon. Oracle had kind of a rough day yesterday, although it looks like it's trying to curl back up. The interesting thing here on Oracle, let me see if I can bring this up on one of my other charts here. And I'll bring up Pro here. So here's what's got me thinking about Oracle. All right. Here is that floating island formation. Now you'll notice that when we first popped here, we actually back tested this level. We closed above it. We pushed higher. So we got that formation to work out. Now it looks like we're testing it again. So I will say now, if we hold this area, let's call it 124. Let's call it 123.50 to 124. If we hold that here, I think we probably go higher. Possible swing long on Oracle above 130 if we hold that spot. This was a good mention here this morning.
Yeah, coin had a bit of a breakout there into 265.77, coming back in to test that consolidation area support. So if it can hold 264, probably we'll see more upside.
Okay. Elon saying good luck on Oracle. I'll let you know. I have no position in that yet. That's just one of the things that I was looking at. And by the way, I think I mentioned this. I know we talked a lot about this on Happy Hour, but I'm pretty sure I mentioned, oops, that's not the right one. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this as a potential setup on 3 closes above the 200-day moving average. This is going to be ticker ACN. This company here is Accenture. You can see that they really kind of sold off here. Did a good job holding that 200-day. We got 1, 2, 3 closes above it. It looks like we're still trying to trade up here on ACN. Entry was yesterday on this. I ended up not taking it stupidly. I was waiting for this formation to actually form here. This looks like this is rocking at this point, especially now that you have some gains today. I would just make sure this trade doesn't go red. If you did take it, swing long here on Accenture. I didn't feel great about holding new positions over the extended weekend, so I opted not to buy this yesterday. Might be kicking myself come Monday. We shall see.
Thanks for the mention, Elon. I hope AT&T continues to move up. I think telecoms are going to be favorable in the later on this year. And then there was something else I was going to mention, but that caught my eye, so never mind. But
that's okay. I get lost sometimes too.
Meta was being asked about.
Okay.
Thoughts on Meta. Well, you have another floating island here, Ryan. What do you think?
Let me take a look here. Let me bring that back. Sorry, I'm flipping around so much. Normally I don't do this, but let's take a look here on Meta. It is worth saying I have a personal bias against Meta. I hate Facebook. I hate the product. I don't like the company. I don't like the result of what happens from Facebook. But to answer your question here, as you can see with the floating island, I actually am so glad you guys brought this up, because take a look at this. The floating island formation works again, baby. We traded up. That impulse move came back. Here, let me actually make this a little bit bigger so it's easier for you folks to see. We actually traded back. We held this area right here. Stock traded up, back tested it a second time. We held a second time, and now this has started to move away here. So this trade absolutely has worked. We're about 47 points higher than the island's base there. So depending on where you ended up taking that, where do I see this going here? Well, one of the things that I'd like to see is I want to see this pattern hold, right? We've kind of been trading up and down and back and forth. I will say, though, if this down move that we're currently in doesn't stop and breaks 178, I think we could come in and test some of the bottoms here. Ultimately, if we break the bottom of this island, I think we fill this gap down to 402. So it really depends on your timing and what of these levels gets violated.
For me, with Meta, like I owned this a while back and traded it, or sold it before it had this massive run. So whatever. But for me at this point, if I was going to get back into it, one of the things I'd want to see is it hold 475, and I'd want to see the 50-day SMA provide support. If I get those 2 boxes checked, then I'd feel more comfortable about it. But I do not own this, and I don't have any plans to at the moment.
And to that point, 13, if that 50-day moving average does hold, even if it breaks beneath it a little, that actually also means it holds on the island formation. I would agree with you completely there. Looking pretty good. All right. While we were talking about Meta, let me actually flip back here. Bdrx did get that second run, took those highs out, but look what happened. We did pop a little bit higher here, immediately came back in. One of the things that we can already determine here on Bdrx is that even if it does pop or pop to a new intraday high, excuse me, it's likely to pull back. We've already seen that twice. Market hasn't even been open a half an hour. So keep that in mind here. Bdrx looks like it is trying to go higher here. As far as size goes, I see it at 188 and 190 on Bdrx.
I got a couple of questions fielded at me. One from Daddy Backstrap, asking if I had heard about T-Mobile's contract with Helium Mobile Crypto. No, I haven't, but I will say that I think T-Mobile is probably one of the one of the better telecoms. They had a really strong time during when Verizon and AT&T weren't being so strong. So I think they're probably a little bit better managed. But the thing about companies like Verizon is that they're a pretty big cybersecurity play as well. We just had a discussion about that yesterday. So no, to answer your question, I have not heard about that, but I do believe T-Mobile is a very strong telecom.
There you go. Good answer there. Reddit here, by the way. Nick, I wanted to ask you, if you're in the middle of something, I totally get it, but I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the Reddit IPO? I know you weren't here when it IPO'd. What do you think about this as a public company? Do you and your peers use Reddit quite a bit? What do you think about this, if anything?
Well, I was going to say, it's interesting how it IPO'd and how it soared to what, 65, 60, $65, and it's now to 53. It's interesting how this IPO is moving and Reddit and the Wall Street Bets community. But how do you fund Reddit? I don't understand how you can make Reddit a profitable company. I don't understand their algorithm. I'm not on Reddit, and I don't get the point of being on Reddit. I don't know what Reddit is serving for. Is it trying to take out a Facebook? Is it trying to take out an Instagram? What is its purpose?
I'm kind of in the same boat as you. 13, I'll go to you here in a sec. Okay. Just wanted to answer his question. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Nick. First of all, I don't really use it. A number of people have told me about it. A number of people have linked me to some articles that they thought were funny or informative or whatever. So now I actually get notifications sometimes of new Reddit things, but I don't have an account. I don't use it. I don't really understand the money making aspect of it either, Nick. And that's what's kind of got me cautious on the stock.
And I'm surprised it even IPO, given the IPO market. I'm surprised how it listed, how it priced, and the momentum this stock has had. But we just saw yesterday, guys, I don't know if you caught this, but Reddit CEO actually was selling shares yesterday. Not only him, but people in this company, since they've IPO'd, I believe they sold like $500,000 worth of shares. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting how it priced, the time of it, the environment. I don't know how many more IPOs we're going to see this year, just given the environment and this market that we're in. Depending on which exchange you list, do you have the money to fund? We've seen some banks like echo this. We're not sure if IPOs are going to be coming back strong this year.
Yeah, so really good point there. And actually, that's a great segue into the IPO market. As far as Reddit goes, Nick, one of the things that I was saying when I was getting asked about this right as it IPO'd is feels late. Feels several years too late. Why didn't this IPO in 2021 when with COVID, everyone's on Reddit and message board? I mean, to me, it just seems like they're doing this late. Ultimately, I don't know where the price goes here. If I was a betting man, I would say that this probably resolves lower. Shout out to one of our Benzinga Pro traders who joined the happy hour and said, hey guys, I know you guys think Reddit's going lower here, but before it does that, it's going to rip. That is this humongous rip. We ripped up to about $73 yesterday. So he called, or not yesterday, the day before, I beg your pardon. He called that perfectly. As far as your other question about what other IPOs are we likely to see here, Nick, I got two for you that I'm pretty certain we're going to see in 2024 that are likely going to be popular. First one's going to be Discord. Second one's going to be Databricks, which has a huge AI component built into the back of it. So
do you think Discord will price like Reddit? Do you think it has some kind of momentum just like that? Or is it going to be a different atmosphere?
You know what? That's a really good question. I have no evidence to cite here, so I'm just going to speculate. I would say it's going to be a little bit different. To me, it seems like the crowds that spend a lot more of their time on Reddit, are different than the crowds that pick and choose a couple of different Discord rooms to spend their time. So I would think that it's going to be a little bit different, but I am just completely speculating. Databricks is the one I'm really waiting for.
So with Reddit, they're getting most of their revenue through ad generation. And essentially, in my opinion, what Reddit is a glorified message board. They as far as the group that is getting shares, I think a lot of the early users of Reddit also were gifted shares when this company IPO'd. So they're going to sell. They probably, and it seems like if you look at some of these other Reddit threads, subreddits that talk about their IPO, it doesn't seem like there's too much excitement to hold their stock. So selling is probably what's going to be happening left and right. We've seen that already. As far as Discord goes, they have, I think, better avenues of revenue generation because they have things like you can boost your server, you can
Nitro, yeah, that's a good call.
There's different things that they can do. So I think Discord compared to Reddit will probably be better. I think there's a little bit more of a sustainable revenue with Discord, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I'm not sure about what's going to go down with Reddit. I think, like you guys are saying, just too late to the party.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Real quickly here, I want to address something. Sally asking a really good question. Does anyone in the chat have access to daily total short interest numbers? The newest data I can see is a month old for total short interest. Can only see daily volume changes. Okay, couple of things here, Sally. First of all, what ticker are you referring to? Second of all, the way short interest works is this is actually only officially updated twice per month. If there is any number that you are seeing that is changing from day to day, it is an estimation. Okay, it is not official numbers. Now, in Benzinga Pro, our short interest tab, we are only going to report the actual numbers from the filings. We don't do any estimation. We don't do any guesswork. We simply report what we see here in the filing. So OPRA is the ticker that you're looking for. If you don't see an update in there, it seems to me that the most recent one is going to be just an estimation.
Keep an eye on OUST. It's got a pretty decent formation here. It just needs a little bit more volume.
Let me bring that up here. OUST.
And we're also getting a mention of Nikola. That's also trying to push up past 98 cents.
OUST is actually making a really nice bull flag here. NKLA on Nikola. Look at that. So here we go on that dollar test. That's coming.
Yeah.
That is coming here.
It's got to just chew through that 98. It's doing it right now. Trying to anyway. There we go.
Nikola, I can't believe that this is one of the stocks that we're watching here today. I thought that this was over, but nope.
Turnaround stories happen. Look what happened with GE.
You know what? It's 13. That's a really good point. Nikola going for $1 right here, guys and gals. Sorry.
Yep, it's just a little more than a cent away. XLO also halted to the downside again. And AVTX trying to decide if it wants to break higher or not.
AVTX staying in that channel that we outlined here in the pre-market. Remember, we were able to get this channel just strictly from the extended session information. Nice little volume expansion in there too, taking us from that 1629 range to 21. The stock moves quite a bit here, so even small movement can pay nicely depending on your position size. Excuse me.
Buzz Lightyear, that's true. I think that's you'd have to read the filing, but there's a little bit of some leeway with some of these shareholders that were gifted shares just for being early on the platform early. I think they don't have that lockup period like you're mentioning, but yes, that's normally true.
Lynn and Randy with some interesting information here. Interactive Brokers, no shares to short on Bdrx at Interactive Brokers. Appreciate that update there, Lynn.
How about that Nikola top tick of $1?
So it went and tested that dollar, huh?
Right to
for
$1
a party now.
Yeah, right. Break out the hydrogen.
Guys, the only information regarding the Sam Bankman-Fried trial is about 15 minutes ago. He is in court. CNN has a little article basically saying he's waiting for his sentencing. He was not shackled, but he held his hands behind his back as he walked in. So hopefully within the next hour before we send it off to our other show, we actually have some news. We actually are getting some new data regarding some preliminary consumer sentiment. Michigan consumer sentiment for March came in at 79.4, beating expectations of 76.5. Pending home sales for February came in at 1.6%. Estimate was for 1.4%. Prior was down 4.7%. And then just going through other numbers, current conditions for Michigan, they say is actual 82.5 versus 79.4. And consumer expectations 77.4 versus 74.6. So it seems all economic data is beating this morning. And 1 year inflation expectations came in at 2.9, below expectations of 3%. 5 year inflation expectations came in at 2.4, beating expectations of 2.9.
Okay, awesome. And the market is showing you that it is agreeing with that market trading higher here. So that also sticks with our pattern, doesn't it, 13? Maybe all-time highs coming here.
Sure looks like that might be happening. And just want to, yes, thank you, Nick. And I just want to address somebody's question here. Do you think Bitcoin is worth it? Is it a good potential time to buy?
I will address that as well when you're done.
We're not financial advisors, so I just want to throw that out there. I can't give you advice on whether or not to buy it. But that being said, in my personal opinion on Bitcoin is that it is a emerging asset class still, and I don't know when the best time to buy it is, but I would imagine that the best time that you could have picked it up was back in October last year. So I really can't give you a solid answer on if now is a good time. I would expect maybe some of this run to cool off at some point, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and as far as me on Bitcoin, I will say long term, yeah, I'm a believer. I think Bitcoin can be a disruptor. I definitely see the benefits of it. I would love for there to be a trusted currency that keeps the Fed's hands out of it. That would be great. So long term, I would say I'm bullish on that, but I take a slightly different approach. I trade stocks. I trade stocks because this is pretty much what I taught myself as I started to get into it. Crypto was kind of a later addition. I see some of the potential value there in crypto, but my thesis on it is just hold it. I own Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Litecoin looks like that might not do anything, but Bitcoin and Ethereum look to be the two blockchains that are going to be around no matter what. I own some of that. I first started buying Bitcoin at about 6,000. So for me, when I watch some of these daily fluctuations, it doesn't really mean anything. I'm in this for the long term. Wake me up in 10 years, then we'll talk about where it's at, and I'll let you know if we're going to book any of that. I also mined it for a little bit. So I actually had my computer producing Bitcoin for me, although that is not very profitable anymore. I don't necessarily do that much anymore. The one thing here is that I don't trade it back and forth. So I often don't have a feel for the near-term bottom, or if this is a good time to buy, or if this is a good time to sell. To me, it's just much less stressful. I got a longer-term approach on it. I'm gonna hold it for the long term.
And then you have, Wisdom, who's saying it's on acid, period. This is why we have a market. Some people don't like it. Some people do like it. Yep. And I don't own any. I did trade it back in 2020 and 2021, but I don't personally own it anymore. So I agree with him that it is a great trading vehicle, but I also disagree that it's not an emerging asset. It's, if people are going to buy it and hold and say that it has value, if you get enough people that agree with that sentiment, then it does kind of become an asset. Just kind of like how the dollar and gold works.
Sorry, my finger slipped there because I was reading Kalu's message here. Avtx made 7.
Holy crap.
Kalu, awesome. You're going to get 2 register rings for that. Look at that. We actually moved off the bottom of the channel and a break through this top of the channel. Kalu, you have been absolutely on fire. On fire. And I love it. I love seeing it. Awesome stuff there. Congrats, my man.
Yeah, it went up to 25.02, and now we're having a huge pull. But, we could still see it go higher because, hey, this thing's trading up over 400% when we get it to 25. So why not go to 500%? Why not go to 1,000%? This thing can be wherever it wants.
Tesla here trading down to this 176.30 area that we had flagged from several days ago. Tesla, this has kind of been all over the map here, right? First move was down, second move was up, last move was down, then we went up. I mean, my goodness, Tesla's giving you all the volatility you could need here today.
Yeah, and I was just mentioning Rocket. This was the one that I had that theory that I mentioned to you guys about them potentially picking up some slack from that fallout from realtors. The National Association of Realtors having to deal with that settlement. This thing is pushing over 15. And
Rocket, is that?
Yeah. This thing has been on a tear this week. Also, nickel is trading over $1 now, and it looks like it might try to go higher. But yeah, Rocket. This thing is squeezing. There's a it's got a good future if there are any rate cuts this year. So there's that runway. A lot of interesting things happening here, and I know that some people like this company for getting them their mortgages and whatnot, but I know a lot of people still don't.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Rocket. Full disclosure, I've used them a few times, and I've had excellent experiences with them. Okay, let's take a look around and see what else is moving. DJT, we talked about that one here at the beginning. That traded up to above 69. Did we get 70? Not quite, almost. Pulled all the way back down to 66. I saw someone mention that it was 66 earlier, so you superstitious people, earmuffs maybe for a little bit. DJT now looking like it's through the VWAP here, going back towards the highs. We'll see. There was another comment here that I wanted to get to, and I'm sorry it's taken so long, but let me go get it. Hopefully that person is still here. They might have just left out of anger for me ignoring them. I wasn't ignoring you. Jay's live asking about Playboy. And don't worry, he kept it clean. PLBY is up 14% plus. Does anyone know anything besides earnings? So the earnings were this morning. Or it was this last night. I beg your pardon. Yep, last night. So earnings on Playboy Group last night. Let me see if I can get you those numbers here real quick. I'm sure I can.
Yeah, they had an EPS beat and revenue beat. Yep. I don't know how they guided, though.
So we had a top and bottom line beat here on Playboy. You had a GAAP EPS of a 5-cent loss, beat the 14-cent loss estimate. So nice beat there. Sales 39.36 million, beat the estimate of 32.27 million. So it looks like they're trading up here on earnings. I'm with you there, 13. I didn't see a guide. We do have a conference call transcript here, courtesy of Seeking Alpha, that you can do. I'm not going to look into that, but you're welcome to if you have Benzinga Pro. Looks like there's a recap of this earnings in here. Let's see if they mention the guide here. No, not really. There is a quote here that I guess is worth it. In 2023, we worked on 5 main goals. First, restructure the company and move to a capital-light business model. That's definitely good. Second, reduce overhead. Third, stabilize and reposition Honey Birdette back to premium brand. I'm not even sure what that is. Fourth, move our China business to a JV model with better accountability and control. And fifth, grow our creator platform, the Playboy Club. We made major progress on all 5 goals in 2023. So the CEO is telling you that things are good there. Stock up 16.5% here this morning.
All right.
I was going to say, guys, watch Spotify. We're just getting some news that Universal Music Group and Spotify expand strategic relationship. This will enable Spotify to distribute music videos in the U.S. Companies are going to collaborate on new promotional and social tools to help artists and songwriters drive interaction and excitement around new releases. UMG artists will soon be able to share short pre-release teasers and expand pre-save opportunities on Spotify.
Okay, Spotify up here quite nicely on that news, Nick. Interesting. The company that you mentioned that they're working with, I'm not familiar with that company. What was the name of it again?
Universal Music Group.
Universal Music Group. Am I just being dumb? Does anyone else know what that is?
Well, they are the company that works with TikTok to provide the music videos. And as you know, the TikTok has recently gotten rid of, I believe, UMG just because UMG pulled their songs off of TikTok just because the copyright, there was some kind of an agreement misuse. So this is going to be interesting to see how maybe TikTok can drive or come bring some videos back, but UMG is partnering with Spotify, basically strategic relationship. I don't actually use Spotify. I kind of use YouTube. I don't know if anybody else uses YouTube Music, but Spotify Music, I'm not a big Spotify person. Not sure about you or 13.
Yeah, I am a Spotify user. I also pay for it. I'll say this. Let me tell you something. The best usage of Spotify, twofold. Being able to listen to podcasts on longer drives. Spotify is excellent for that. The other thing, I have a golf playlist built, and when I have a speaker that magnets to the golf cart, and oh my God, you just hit play and you never have to worry about music. No ads because I pay for it. Super cheap. I do like Spotify. Now, that YouTube music app, that's interesting. Is it like an app that you can kill the screen and it'll still play music in your headphones?
Yeah, you can also pay. There's a YouTube Music app, and then if you really wanted to, you can actually pay for YouTube Music. I just use the free version in general. Okay. So I just make a playlist and just like it, and I can shuffle through it, but I just use the free version.
Gotcha. Okay, that's how I started with Spotify, so nothing wrong with that. By the way, Bdrx here, finding some resistance here at 2. That is your intraday high. Looks like there's a refresh seller there on Bdrx. This pulling back might not be ready to go through it yet, but maybe you get a little bit bigger pop there on Bdrx.
Shell Harris is asking, he's saying he's super new, no trades yet, just learning, so kind of confused as to why we F these giant micro movement stocks. Isn't it better to trade rising penny stocks that make larger moves? We do both. We'll trade everything that we think that has a good setup, has a decent amount of volume or more volume, and if we feel we can capture profits, then that's what we'll do. But usually these smaller names tend to move a lot more than those bigger ones. But some of those bigger ones still also move, and they move in a more sustainable way. There's not so much volatility in these. So it kind of makes them easier to trade for swings and longer term positions. That's my thought on it. How about you, Brian?
Yes, I'm the same way. I think one of the biggest myths, especially for newer traders, and I absolutely fell into this myself. When I was new, when I felt like, oh man, I barely had my first trading account was a $500 account, guys. I started at the bottom just like everyone else did. I blew up my first 2 accounts, but that's another story. One of the things that I always thought from the beginning is that, man, I need to get one of these stocks that goes from $1 to $50 because that's really going to set me up. And yeah, that's great if you can hit that, but that is so rare and so difficult to do with any kind of consistent measure. One of the big myths here is that you can't make money on stocks that have high prices. And that just simply ain't true. In fact, my best short-term trade this year was on Palo Alto. I caught a 25-point move over the course of a weekend. It was one of the easiest trades that I've made in a long time in an environment that has not been helpful. 25 points in just a couple of sessions. Actually could have been a little bit more if I had stayed in or scaled out. So I challenge you. You can make money on anything that's moving here. Ultimately, what this is going to come down to, how good is your process and how repeatable is your process? Some of the times when you see me getting frustrated here, it's because my repeatable process is actually not working out. And that makes me think, do I need to make an adjustment? Did I do something wrong? What's going on here? Why this process isn't working? So good question. We do both. We do both here. We are not discriminant. If there's a stock moving and we can make money off of that, we're going to tell you about that. Take care of yourself, Rich. Great to see you.
Yeah, okay. And some of those big slow movers, those are the ones that I make most of my money on anyway, because I hold them for a long period of time, and so I'm taxed at a lower rate when I finally do sell.
Yeah, and that's another really good point. I would prefer to swing trade, so I would prefer to not buy and sell in the same day. We do that here on the show. The environment is a big reason for that, but I prefer to swing trade. And like 13 said, when you hold something for a long time and then you're able to cash out, you have less of a tax burden on that as well. So all good stuff.
All right, looks like OUST. If we can get this volume to expand, we might push through 809.
Which one? What ticker again? Sorry.
OUST.
OOST. That's right.
OOST.
See if we can oust.
Yeah, let's see if we can oust these bears. Man, coin went all the way up to 267 before it came back in. Still trying to hold support from VWAP.
Bitcoin's still trying to hold up here, looking like it might be gearing for another move. Let me look and see what some of our other trader friends are doing here. Excuse me, MESO. Okay, so maybe MESO curling off this 4 level. Got the VWAP there at 438 on MESO. Decent move there. D's, good to see you this morning. Talking about Boeing. See what Boeing's doing here. Boeing really not making a huge move here, staying under that 193. Impressive to hold up here. Maybe this curls. Wouldn't want to expose myself to this for the weekend, though. Let's see, I think I'll tell you what. I'm gonna make a call here. I think we see 200 on Boeing before we see. Well, that's not really fair. That's too much. That's far away.
Well, I was going to say, Boeing has a lot of issues, Ryan, and I'm not exactly sure if you can stick with Boeing. I would stay away from Boeing, and I would move to another airline.
Yeah. So fair point. And I'm looking at the chart here is kind of how I'm formulating this. You're absolutely right about the Boeing news flow. It's actually quite frightening. Some of the old tenants, when there's blood in the streets, that's when you should be buying. Or when others are crying, you should be buying. And when others are yelling, you should be selling. So I'm almost thinking that maybe now is the time to take a look at Boeing. Looking at the chart here, it looks like a 200 test coming up here. But Nick, overall, to your point, like I said at the beginning of this, I am not pivoting from that. I don't want to take any new position right ahead of the Easter 3-day weekend.
Avtx pushing new highs. And we're also getting mentioned on XLO as well.
So this AVTX didn't quite follow the formula that we're looking for. Remember, what we like with these channels is a break out of the channel, then a back test of the channel as the entry trigger, and then the move. This, we didn't quite get that. We actually pulled back to the VWAP, but to 13's point here, this does look like it's pushing. XLO was the other one that you mentioned there. Let's take a look at that. What's going on here? It looks like we're coming back to the VWAP.
Yeah, it's trying to, let's see, what figure are we looking at here? Maybe 175 it wants to get through. It looks like there's a lot of consolidation between there and 185. A lot of sell orders. So it's got to chew through that if we're going to see some more upside.
Okay. See if we get that there.
AVTX, man, it's 2680 now. Holy cow. Where does this thing end?
This thing really starting to accelerate too. You're seeing that expanding volume that we look for here. If we get the last time that we saw this, we had this thing pull back to VWAP and then go higher. That's definitely something that you want to watch here. This thing really spread out though, 30 plus cent spread. AVTX.
Yeah, and OUST still in that bear flag formation, or not bear flag, bull flag formation, bull pennant formation.
Randy joking about being under a flight path and looking for falling Boeing parts. Look, Randy, I know you're telling a joke. I hope that that never happens. Well, number one, for the safety of you and Lynn. But number two, I mean, I that would be a traumatic experience. If I looked out my office window and I saw a Boeing part fall to the ground, oh God, that'd be a tough memory to get rid of. Let me tell you that. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I just probably won't touch airlines at the moment. Airline manufacturers. The only manufacturers I really like are going to be the ones that are heavier into the defense side. And I know Boeing's in defense, but Lockheed Martin, RTX, I think those are better for defense aerospace.
With you on that. And just full disclosure here, no position on any airlines, no position on Boeing. And actually, I currently don't have any position on any of those defense stocks like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, or Northrop Grumman.
And there's also you could play ETFs too. I think one of the better ETFs you could try for aerospace defense is ITA. I know there's others out there, but that's my preferred one.
Plug. This gets mentioned every day. This looks like this is just kind of holding in there.
That's also moving on the
hydrogen news.
Yeah, with Nikola. Yeah.
iBio, how's that doing? iBio may be curling off the 380 spot. We'll see. DNA on my relative volume scanner. Where's Rustam? You should be tap dancing on the table here as DNA trading up towards the highs. Actually, it looks like this was a Kathy name, wasn't it? I wonder if she's still in at 117. Looks like the spot DNA needs to break. I see Akba. We got Admiral Akbar here on the scanner. This really struggling to get above its VWAP.
Yeah,
moving to the highs. Good call there. That, by the way, that diverged from the Bitcoin price. Remember, Jay Rice has been all over that. Jay Rice, I don't think he's here today. Hope everything's going well with his procedure. But Mara here looks to be moving away from the Bitcoin correlation here. It's going higher as Bitcoin's really just kind of trading around there.
Yeah, Sydney, you bring up a really good a point. Whenever I look at these biotech stocks, I always ask myself, what's the addressable market with the drug that they're developing? Because when I see these crazy valuations of the stocks just get astronomically high, I'm just like, well, is it just does their addressable market justify this move? And almost all the times it's no. So when I see when I see your question and wonder how much is this company going to be able to capture with their drug they have in development? That's a big thing for me to consider if I'm even going to be getting into healthcare stocks. That's why I own the big ones and not these small ones, because I know that they are going to be continuing to generate cash, and these other ones are just going to continue to eat cash.
Really good stuff there, 13. Really good stuff there. By the way, Lynn, appreciate this shout out. AVTX did come back into this little area here. Maybe it is bouncing. I'll be honest. You know what's keeping me out of this, Lynn and Randy? This spread is just too big. This would be a day trade only for me. I'd like that spread to tighten up, but I think you might have had a really good call here. This little bounce off that 24 level already got 40 some cents on that one. Looks like maybe this will keep going here. If this comes back into the VWAP as well, that'd be something else to consider here. Didn't we have a very thin structure on this on AVTX?
Yeah, I believe that one had like
800K.
Yeah.
So all of that makes sense here.
To answer your question, Kalu, you got to take what the market gives you. I know it's exciting when we have a lot of runners, but that doesn't mean, in my opinion, to start jumping into everything you see. It does, there is a point that you get to where you cannot manage, everything that you're trying to buy and sell. So I guess at that point, you just want to kind of choose the best names or the names that you prefer to trade and try to trade them. But it's always going to be a game of, what the market's going to provide and how much you're going to take from what the market gives you.
This AVTX, I definitely should have bought this one right here around 24. Lynn, this was a great call.
Oh yeah.
This was a great call. Nice spot there. Came right to the spot. Great eyes.
We're going to roll out the red carpet for you at happy hour. That's for sure.
Roll out the red carpet, the virtual red carpet.
Yeah.
Guys, we are getting some more updates regarding the Sam Bankman-Fried
Lay it on us.
Trial. I was going to say still no sentencing yet, but just some of the details that CNN and others that are in the courtroom that are reporting that the judge found losses to the victim, saying that crimes that he committed exceeds $550 million. So that's the high end range given by federal sentencing guidelines. The Judge Kaplan, said he found that there was a loss to investors of $1.7 billion, a loss to Alameda lenders of $1.3 billion, and a loss to FTX customers of $8 billion. In the pre-sentencing memos, SBF's lawyers argued that there was no loss to any victims, arguing that they will be made whole in the bankruptcy process. The judge also goes on to say that FTX customers and creditors will be paid in full is misleading. It is logically flawed. It is speculative. Still, Kaplan says he intends to give Bankman-Fried a prison term below the maximum sentencing guidelines when he ultimately hands down to SBF. A judge is not required to adhere to sentencing guidelines. We're still waiting to hear that. Judge Kaplan also goes on to say that he found that Bankman-Fried committed perjury during his trial testimony. He falsely testified that he had no knowledge that Alameda had spent FTX customer deposits before the fall of 2022. And Judge Kaplan also said that Bankman-Fried committed witness tampering before he was remanded into custody when he communicated with the former FTX general counsel.
None of that sounds good. I actually just saw the flash up on the screen here on CNBC, 110-year maximum sentence. I know you just said there that the judge does not have to stay within the guidelines for that sentencing. Really interesting stuff here. Appreciate that, Nick.
So what is it, 66 years if he gets good behavior? Sorry, that was a bad joke.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I don't get it. Like, how are these victims gonna, find solace in a long sentence and have this guy still be alive or still have money that he probably has somewhere? I mean, I don't think that he's completely bankrupt or has zero. He probably has something stashed somewhere. I just think this kind of fraud just, needs harsher punishment. Long prison sentence. Give me a break.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Have a great day, Carmen.
Take care, Carmen.
Take care of yourself.
Looks like we're starting to get some breakdown in AVTX unless we get some support from the VWAP here. Does this go higher? Put him away with Diddy.
Put him away with Diddy. Oh, gosh. I don't even want to comment on that because I don't know what's going on there. I don't want to pretend to know what's going on there. The stuff I read isn't any good. Man, oh, man. ALLG curling back up towards that VWAP. RH, what a gap and go move this was on RH. That's Restoration Hardware, isn't it? No, RH common stock. No. Luxury retailer. Yeah.
Looks like Nikola wants to try to make new intraday highs. And what else? Oust still trying to. It's not. I mean, the longer we consolidate, the less confident I am that we're going to see a higher price in OUST.
This is just really kind of flagging here.
Yeah, but it needs to make a move.
Yeah, Lacey made a move earlier. This was another former girlfriend there. 13 Lacey, big pop here. This actually came back in. How's iBio doing? Looks like we're hurling back up towards that VWAP on iBio. You know, the one thing I will say here, this hasn't broken down, at least not yet. See if when that inevitably happens here. Bdrx, this came right back into the VWAP. Bdrx.
Looks like AVTX is trying to hold VWAP. See if we get another upside move.
FLGC, this was your pot name that was the strongest here of the day. This moving through the VWAP, going towards the highs. We'll see if we get another 280 test here on FLGC.
Talking about healthcare and pharma names, guys, I forgot to mention this morning, but insurance coverage for weight loss drugs, Elevance, CVS Health are becoming the first to extend coverage to Novo Nordisk's successful Wegovy for certain patients. We actually have an article that literally is just published on Benzinga.com that takes us through the major health insurers that are covering this. These insurers have committed to covering Wegovy for individuals meeting certain criteria, including those with cardiovascular disease. Remember, Wegovy priced at around $1,349 per patient per month, and that, of course, presents a significant financial consideration for insurance. So, Elevance, CVS, and part of them are going to cover for Novo Nordisk, so for patients that have to take the Wegovy.
Okay, that's interesting. You know, we've been talking a lot about those semaglutide drugs in happy hour. There was a lot of discussion about how we're still in the infancy here because there seems to be other things that these drugs help. You just mentioned the whole cardiovascular thing there. Obviously, people's heart and cardiovascular system better as they lose weight. That was something that we had discussed. Also, less of a need for drugs like statins. Also something else that we had discussed there. And interesting to see that news, both Novo and Lilly trading up on the back of that. Sorry, 13.
Yeah, I was going to say Lilly looks like it wants to, break out. But remember, we also had that recent article about how semaglutides can also help with fertility, and they may also be affecting contraceptives.
Yeah, now I'm okay. I think it depends on what side of the aisle you are on that one. I'm not sure how much that is a help if your contraceptives no longer work. To your point, though, for those families that are having trouble starting a family, perhaps this can help. That's a really good point there.
Yeah, so that was really interesting about how we're starting to see some research come out with helping increase fertility because you're changing your metabolism, you're becoming healthier, so that increases your fertility. But at the same time, the drug may also affect contraceptives, making them reducing their efficacy. So there's two sides to that, and if you're on the side that you're trying to be fertile, you're trying to have children, then and you're not, it's not helping. You may have a weight problem. This could be the answer. On the other hand, if you're trying to lose weight and you don't want to have children and you're taking contraceptives, then there may be another consideration you'd have to make for your weight loss or your weight management, because it's apparently affecting the efficacy of contraceptives.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Okay, gents, I'm going to step away for just 1 second. I'm going to leave ALLG up here. I will BRB, folks.
All right. What else do we have here, folks? OJ saying 17 January, 295 day expiration. Nicola, $1 strike for. Okay. So we got the options. Avtx is turning around and looks like it's going higher, trying to push back up to 25. Is that what we're getting here? What's the price? 24.75 and almost a 25. This is fun, guys. And what else is running? Looks like Nicola is trying to push up past 105. Coin recovering. It wants to go back to 267. You said you got some XLO. Okay. I mean, it looked like a pretty good partnership. I just don't know what kind of value we're going to get out of that immediately. But if this is for a long hold, then I hope that works out for you. What else we got, folks? NUVB looking to break the top. Let's take a look. Oh, look at Avtx Xlo. Absolutely phenomenal. Let's take a look at NUVB. NUVB.
Got it. NUVB.
This thing is pushing higher as we speak. It needs to take out that pre-market high of 415, and we're right on the doorstep there. So I do see a good amount of sell orders between 422 and 434. I'll just say between 420, so I get Wisdom's attention, and 434.
I like how you slipped that one in there. MESO, Smoked Tuna mentioning MESO here. Smoked Tuna, this actually meets your bottomed out criteria, does it not? Looks like we had the MACD histogram just swing green. We also have the price level here looking pretty good. Certainly looks like a curl. Let's see if we can get through this 418 here. VWAP at 433. This looks good, right, Smoked Tuna?
I like the curling action.
I do too.
Wisdom's funny. Yeah, it looks like NUVB not able to take out 415 yet, but I wouldn't say that the possibility is gone as long as we can hold. As long as we can, let's say as long as we can hold 4, we should see another attempt. Nicola pushing up to 107 now. Congrats for those who picked this up this morning. XLO, Sydney, if this gets another test of the 65 EMA and reverses, I would like to see it clear 167, because if it can't, then I think this is probably heading lower today. That is my thought on XLO. Looks like LIXT from earlier this week. Slow moving this morning, but it's setting up to look like. To me, it looks like it wants to take out 380 from here. It's got to get through 375 first. Good amount of sell orders, but the fact that we're curling up here and headed towards the intraday highs, slightly encouraging. But we do need to see more volume in this one.
Bitcoin here pushing to the highs on the futures chart, 72,380 just now on volume 2. I wonder how some of these Bitcoin stocks are reacting to that. Mara still pushing the highs here. Coin trading back up towards the highs here. And MSTR. So, Nick, look at that. You broke that news about that short report here today. MSTR did sink a little bit in the pre-market. It was already up, so it pretty much just went back to balance. Right out of the open, the buyers bought it up, but it has since reversed here. Looks like it reversed off 1977 all the way down to 1822 here. This is volatile here today after that short report. MSTR.
I've done a couple of trades today, both with AVTX. This morning it didn't work out, but man, that move that we just had made up for it and more. So this has been the stock du jour today, AVTX.
Yeah, this sure has. This sure has. Shout out to Lynn and Randy watching this live last night.
Yep, and it's one of those things where we've seen this before, where they mention something that's moving, and it's basically a similar headline. And then we're just like, okay, well, we're not really picking up in after hours, and then it's going to be on deck to trade tomorrow. When we wake up tomorrow, it's up hundreds of %.
Yeah,
this is not the first time I need to start, saying, oh, well, we'll just look at it tomorrow. I need to start taking a little bit more risk in the after hours personally. I don't recommend it to anybody else, but that's up to you if you want.
Well, it sure worked on AVTX here today, did it?
Sure
not?
did. Look at coin though. We're about to try 267 again. This thing is getting strong.
Sure is. Let's see if we can take this intraday double top here.
Yep. I'm sorry you didn't get your fill, Smoke Tuna. That would have been absolutely incredible.
Rug pull Randy. Rug pull Randy. I kind of like that handle too. That's creative. That's creative. Rug pull Randy here mentioning snow. If you recall correctly, I actually tried to play snow off a 200 SMA bounce. It did not work. We actually had to take a small loss on that one. But now looks like maybe snow is setting up here. Rug pull. This is a pretty good spot here. Looks like that 157 area was the bottom. We actually did just trade above the 20-day moving average here. This does look like it's curling. I'll say this, Rug pull Randy, if we can get back up to that 175 area, it's about $12 from where we're at now, and we can show some strength moving to or above the 200-day moving average there, I'd be tempted in a swing here on snow. I don't think I need to do this on a synthetic Friday right before a 3-day weekend, but this one definitely keep on your radar. Great mention here.
Yeah, I love your
great
name.
handle too. I mean,
I would hope that you join us every day that we're on and tell us when things are about to pull, because that would be absolutely great.
Well, I was going to say, guys, we got the news yesterday after the bell that Snowflake CEO bought 31,542 shares of stock at a price of $158.52, and it just goes to show that Snowflake is continuing to be on this AI side. Even this morning, they are launching the Snowflake data clean rooms to customers in AWS East, AWS West, and Azure West. So it just goes to show what Snowflake is doing and how the stock is continuing to perform. This would be a good company to own.
Yeah, and Nick, to your point about the insider buy there, like that they're doing that on pullbacks, right? Big move down, and you got an insider buy going on there. I like to see that. That definitely helps give me confidence. I actually appreciate that. I didn't take a look at that news article, but news by Nick coming in big again. Hey, how about that, Nick? We love having you here, man.
Nick, I'll be on all next week, by the way, because I'm still on Easter break all next week.
Let's go, dude. Let's go. You didn't tell me that.
Well, that's the surprise here.
Surprise.
Are you able to tell us if?
Hey, should I answer this?
Yes. Sure. This could be big.
Should I answer that? Okay, hang on. I'm gonna go on mute and answer it.
All right. Nick, are you able to tell us if Snowflake has a share buyback program? Because I'd imagine if the CEO is purchasing shares, that their buyback program might also be doing the same.
Yeah, hold on. Let me look into that. Let's see. Snowflake stock buyback.
We'll just take a look at some of these other companies while we're getting that data. Looks like AVTX pulling back, putting some not too enticing looking top wicks in there, but that doesn't mean that it's breaking down yet. I think if we start to trade underneath 2250, it could be bad. XLO looks like it's trying to retake that 167 handle, trying to get through 171 right now. That'd be good news. That'd be good news.
I was going to say, to your point, 13, back on March 1st, the board of directors approved a repurchase program for up to $2 billion. And the program that they're doing this will be funded using Snowflake's working capital. The buyback program will expire in March of 2025.
Okay. So I think that would, I mean, if the CEO is buying, I have to think that the company is also buying back shares as well at these prices. So
yeah, because they reported earnings, I believe, back towards the end of February, and they announced about the board of directors authorizing the repurchase of up to $2 billion in common stock. So we'll see how well Snowflake continues to do. You can just take a look at the chart. I mean, there's no real reason on why not to own or trade this name. This is actually a good name compared to the others, I believe, in the sector.
Yeah. And I do like how we're curling here. We have the RSI and MACD look like it's telling us it might be a good time to consider this. I'd like to see a close above, let's say, I think maybe I'll try this if we get up to 170 and it continues to look good. But I like the way this is looking right now. If we get those share repurchases starting to happen soon, I think it could be good. We have a large gap to fill too between 194.50 to 226.50. Very large gap to fill.
I was going to say 13, talking about Tesla and stuff, we are getting some news this morning that Xiaomi CEO Li Juan says that Xiaomi's car is well prepared to support Apple users. We actually knew this morning that Xiaomi priced its SUV EV below Tesla's Model 3 in China. And on Pro right now, this headline just hit. Reuters is actually reporting that Xiaomi gets over 20,000 orders in the first 7 minutes of its EV debut. I'm not exactly sure even what the car looks like. I never even heard of this company until I was following this today. It just goes to show that we are trying to compete with Tesla. I mean, okay, looking at the car, I really don't have any initial thoughts here, just that
it looks like a Tesla.
Yeah, it literally does. Literally, it is pricing well below about 30 to 40,000. So we shall see how well this does and if it's making its way over to the US.
Yeah, I just would not trust China manufactured electric vehicles. If you've done the research into seeing how many of those things catch fire from their batteries and the low quality components, it's just, I just completely want to run as far away from those companies as possible. I still think Tesla's best in breed, even though they have a whole ton of problems right now. I still think I still think the whole EV play is something to stay away from for the time being. That includes China EVs as well.
Yeah, I was going to say we are continuing to get some more SBF news as we await the sentencing. So Bankman-Fried's lawyers, and this is coming from CNN about 12 minutes ago, the Sam Bankman-Fried lawyer said, quote, Sam was not a ruthless financial killer. And reading this, they say, quote, his real motivations were misapprehended and misunderstood. Really, he's an awkward math nerd. He loves video games, and he's compassionate to animals. Again, I don't even know how you get those animals and stuff in there with being a financial killer. But his lawyer added that Bankman-Fried still believes he could have fixed the problem at FTX if he had the time. Now, just about 2 minutes ago, right before I brought you this news, SBF, they say, has been tutoring fellow inmates. While locked up in the Metropolitan Detention Center since August, Bankman-Fried has been tutoring fellow inmates who are pursuing their GEDs, his lawyer told the court during SBF's sentencing hearing. Bankman-Fried's mother said, quote, the mother of one of the inmates reached out to me about 3 months ago to ask me to pass along her gratitude to Sam, who said she has given her son a reason to live for the first time since his arrest 4 years ago. End quote.
Is that worth the billions that he defrauded people out of? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. And while his mother goes on to say in the pre-sentencing letter to the court, he has also, quote, helped 2 inmates who are facing close to a lifetime in prison for crimes they likely did not commit to find competent counsel prepared for their cases. I'm not exactly sure if they don't understand what these arguments are about. What he did with FTX is just astonishing. How quickly FTX collapsed.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen anything like that in history.
No, it seems like they're just trying to throw things against a wall to see what sticks.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm back. So guess what? So number one, I did not get fired. I know that there was some speculation right away that I was actually getting fired.
Hit the like for not getting fired.
That is
I
not
thought that was
the case.
what that call was for.
So I will say first of all, here's what I'll say about Jason. Jason is really, really good at checking up on his people. I actually hadn't talked to Jason for a couple of weeks, and I get calls like that. That means a lot to me. Some stuff on there, obviously, that is, that I had to stay muted. But just want to say how much I appreciate the team members that we have here at Benzinga. A lot of that actually starts with Jason at the top and bleeds down to the rest of the team. So I can definitely appreciate the jokes about getting fired. Wisdom, I appreciate you giving me a roof over my head in case I did get fired. That means quite a bit, but don't worry about that, folks. That is actually not the case. Jason does say hi to everybody, and he's really glad that you folks are here supporting what we're doing. So there you go.
Hello, Jason. Glad you enjoy the stream.
Avtx, what did I miss while I was gone? I guess we should start with that.
Oh, you missed some price action. It's trying to get back to the 2761 intraday high that it made. Kind of working. I think that it could be a little bit more sideways for a bit until maybe until a little bit later today. But I don't think this thing is quite over yet. Just need to see that volume come back in because it's been falling off lately.
Ryan, you missed, and this is hilarious, that show me this new China EV car. Literally looks like a Tesla. Has literally gotten, what did I say, 20,000? Has literally gotten over 20,000 orders in its first 7 minutes of its EV debut. And it literally looks like a Tesla.
So that happened just now? That EV debut? Wow. Okay, so they copied Tesla and they're basically selling a bunch of them.
Both 13 and I looked it up, and it literally looks like a Tesla.
Well,
but just with this China EV, manufacturing and design.
Xiaomi, is that XAO?
XIA.
XIA. Oh, I missed the I.
Oh,
I had it. I just missed that first I. Oh, I had it. That was... Okay, let's take a look here.
Don't worry, Ryan, you'll get it. Okay.
No. I was guessing, and I'm not good at spelling Chinese words, and then I got really, really close. This does look like a lot like a Tesla. Holy smokes. Dude, they here. This is it?
Yes, that is the car.
That's
a
the
Xiaomi.
What's different about it? Oh, it's blue.
We need Chris Tucker jokes with the Xiaomi name. I mean, let me tell you something. Rush Hour and Rush Hour 2 might be some of my favorite movies ever. Oh man. We could use some of the Chris Tucker jokes here with Xiaomi. That's
just
sure.
Sparingly though, because I don't think everybody appreciates the tone of his voice.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, guys. The rolling for Sam Bankman-Fried is going to be momentarily as Bankman-Fried is now speaking, and this literally just hit the Bloomberg terminal. Following this on X, that Bankman-Fried says he is sorry about what happened.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? I mean, I guess I shouldn't. Nothing's really funny. I will say I did feel from the beginning that he actually feels sorry. Maybe I'm being naive. I do believe that. But nonetheless, I mean, the amount of damage that he must have done to people, just astronomical.
Most people are sorry when they're sitting in front of the judge waiting for their sentence.
Yeah, that's okay. Well said there, Dr. Manfred. As far as the car, do you drive it or push it?
AVTX, I guess it didn't want to wait for later on today. It's pushing up to new highs at 2790 now. This thing has been blue skying all day. It's crazy.
Ryan, what will move when Bankman gets sentenced? Stay focused. What a good question. How have we not asked this yet today? This is such a good question. I'm not surprised to see Stay Focused come in here and start dropping G questions like this.
Yeah, I want to say that somebody might have asked that earlier, but it could have been Stay Focused too. and it's I love the translation here. A happy zombie saying he's thinking, doesn't Xiaomi mean little rice?
Yeah, I'm not. It very well could. That very well could. Stay focused. I'm going to take a stab at this. What is going to move when he gets sentenced? Well, first of all, I'm not up on their colloquial called shit coins, so I don't know if there's a smaller coin that has some type of whatever that's going to move on this. My initial reaction would be that Bitcoin would move higher on this. And hear me out on that. I think that if you are sentencing somebody for fraud in the Bitcoin market, you can make an argument that you've somewhat cleaned up that market by removing this bad actor from the scene. That also should give you confidence that some of the measures that they're doing in this new growing industry are actually working. So to me, and maybe this is just because I'm a naive Bitcoin bull and I own it, so I'm talking my book, frankly. I think that the move off this should be higher. Now, how much? I don't know. Maybe just kind of a reaction, but I would imagine it's Bitcoin and Ethereum, perhaps the two most important chains. And I think that they might move higher. By the way, good morning, Voodoo. I don't know if I said good morning to you yet. Jane, take care of yourself. Happy Easter. Have a great weekend. Get some rest. Great job on your trading recently, by the way, Jane.
Yes. Chat's been on fire lately.
Yeah, the chat really has been awesome. That's what we do here.
Guys, watch Boeing. There was a piece published from the New York Times this morning it's a brutal piece. Literally, the headline is "Shortcuts Everywhere: How Boeing Favored Speed Over Quality." I haven't gotten a chance to read the report. If I do within the next 9 minutes, along with following the SBF news, I will surely let you know what this piece is about. But basically, the subtitle is also saying problems have plagued the manufacturer even after 2 fatal crashes, and many current and former employees blame its focus on making planes more quickly. So just watch Boeing.
Okay. Real quickly here.
Hi, Voodoo. Hello.
Stay focused mentioning IBIT. Now, IBIT, I don't think I can. No, the IBIT is an ETF that I'm unable to bring up and trade the pool. So let me go ahead and bring it up here in Pro. We'll take a look at this. This is your Bitcoin trust. The thing here is that if I think Bitcoin is going to move higher, then IBIT should move higher with that. By the way, possible double top coming up here. That we'll see. Stay focused. I'm not positioned for this. I'm not playing a sentencing as a catalyst, but it's something that I'm definitely watching. Remember, I don't trade the Bitcoin names or the stocks. I just hodl them. Stay focused. Also saying, by the way, I said good morning earlier, but you guys were busy. Man, I take responsibility for that. Sorry, and we'll get you again. Rustam, member for 25 months. We really appreciate it. Buying stocks that are down. And wait, what? I'm sorry, Rustam. I don't understand. GMDA is the ticker. I think that reminds me. It's a 4-cent ticker, dude.
Oh yeah, it's down. Well, it's down to almost 2 cents today, but it's down 27%. I don't know what. I mean. I couldn't tell you. I don't know anything about this company.
I'm sorry, dude. We don't look at 4-cent stocks, my man.
It's a clinical stage company that doesn't appear to like it's doing well. They might have to, reverse split at some point. It really could, I don't know anything about this company, to be honest, but they have 126 million share float, and with a 4 cents stock price, I could definitely see a reverse split happening if they want to remain on the.
I think that's probable
on the NASDAQ, So I wouldn't trade that personally.
There he is. Jason, they were taking bets on whether or not you were firing me live.
They lost.
They lost. You could actually go back and get that clip.
Jason's not watching. That means, do I have to grab the suit jacket now to look even better?
I mean, look, Nick, you are outdressing both of us already.
Yeah,
I think
I'm elevating both of you.
You got the Sipowicz look going with the short sleeve shirt and the tie. I mean, I think only you can actually pull that off here. I don't think you need a jacket. I think you're good.
Yeah, I look like you just pulled me off the street.
By the beard, too.
Yeah, by the beard. Pulled me up
by the beard. Pulled him up by the beard. By the way, guys, speaking of bouncing here, Tesla coming off that 176 level that we mentioned earlier here. Nice clean bounce here for Tesla. Also moving through that VWAP. Tesla unfazed by the Xiaomi copy being revealed today here. Tesla trading higher off that.
One of them must have caught fire. Yeah, I know. I said it. But I just don't trust those China EVs based on the things that I've seen and read and what I know. I can't trust them.
Do you trust a hybrid in general? Let's talk about cars here, even in the US. Do you trust a hybrid? So, half gas,
I'll start. I'll start.
Okay.
No, because what's important for me is I have what they colloquially call a lead foot. So when I put my right foot down, the car needs to go. And so hybrids always underwhelm. They always underwhelm. Now, I know that I am different than most people here. So I understand that I might be the outlier here, but no, not interested in any hybrid and not interested in an EV yet.
For fuel efficiency, I believe that would probably be the only reason for me to own a hybrid. We are in the market looking for a new car, and we're going back and forth between a Kia hybrid and a traditional ICE vehicle. So I think that we'll see a lot more hybrids on the road than we will EVs for a time, but eventually that transition will happen. If we're going to be playing if I'm going to be playing hybrids or going to be wanting to own a hybrid, it's probably going to be from a company like Toyota, Honda, or Kia.
Good stuff there, Toyota. If I had, you know what, 13, I'll amend my comment there. If I had to own a hybrid, I agree, I'd go the Toyota route. They've really been killing it on that.
Toyota seems to be doing well and catching up to Tesla in many aspects.
They've had hybrids for a long time too. I remember my father had a Toyota hybrid Honda Accord from not Toyota, Honda hybrid from 1997. Yeah, they've been doing this for a long time.
Yes, they have. And I know we're talking about the actual cars, but take a look at the stock here too. Stock doing just fine with that hybrid model that we were just talking about. By the way, I did want to update you this potential setup that we've discussed several days here in a row on Accenture, ticker ACN. We are continuing to bounce off the 200-day. Remember, the setup, one of the things that I look for when we actually kind of flirt with these 200-day levels here, are we actually closing above it? And can we get 3 consecutive closes above it? The problem is you actually start to run away if you get a move like you did here on Accenture. So where we would have really liked to enter about 333 here, this entry now up about 342, so about 9 points higher than where we are. One of the things that I would say here is factor into your plan if this move doesn't continue, right? We got a couple of days here now. Sure looks like it wants to test that 352 at that 100-day moving average. We'll see if we end up topping out here again. I didn't take this because of the 3-day weekend, but keep an eye on this one. So far, the trade's working. We don't want this to go against us if you're in it. We flip back over to trade the pool real quick.
I personally think ACN still needs to go underneath the 200-day SMA and trade under there for a short period and then come back up. That's what
I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one.
We're getting a question from Joaquim. Got an unusual question,
JK.
My friend. What's that?
JK or the Swede. Remember
the Swede. We got a question from the Swede.
Baby. Let's go.
I got an unusual question. My friend started an ETF. If I recruit or present him to people that will invest, he will pay me a commission. What's a fair commission percentage? I'm not in that business, so I really couldn't tell you. But yeah, I'm sorry I can't answer that question. But hey, that's pretty cool that you actually have somebody who's created an ETF and is going to be paying you to recruit people. So hey. Sounds like a really good gig, but I don't think I could give you an answer on the commissions you should be getting from that.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that either. That actually sounds like a serious question there. I'd look for some help. If anyone in the chat has some help and it's no BS, let them know. But I don't have an answer for that. Brett, we really appreciate comments like this. We're here to help. We're here to try to make your trading day better. We are all about the community here. Rising tide lifts all boats. Real quick, Becca hitting this on the head. This is something I'm very into cars. And when I first started learning about cars, this was something that I learned very, very early on. Lexus is basically a Toyota. Lexus and Toyota are effectively the same. One's got an L on the front. One has a T on the front, or the little loopy, bubbly T type thing. The other actual difference that you can see is that if you get a Toyota leather car and you get a Lexus leather car, the leather in the Lexus is going to be thicker and more plush than the Toyota. That's common with GM and Cadillac as well, that relationship. But Becca is spot on with that comment there.
Yeah, you have a lot of car companies that have their luxury brands, and Toyota has their the Lexus one. You have Honda with the Acura brand. You have is it Mazda that's Infinity, or is it Nissan that's Infinity?
I think it's Nissan, actually.
So Nissan that's Infinity. I mean, of course, Chevrolet has their Corvette brand. So you have these luxury brands or these performance brands that are under a different name, but still within that umbrella from their parent company.
Here's Sero, by the way. I haven't looked at this one yet. Sero Therapeutics. This also in that biotech theme that we talked about. This trading up, bouncing up off that VWAP. Let's see what else is. How about XLO? Did we get any things that was a halt fest here today?
It was halted twice to the downside, and now it's recovering. And it looks like it wants to try to get back up to 190. It's got to get to 180.
Yeah, not a whole lot of halts. And this XLO has really kind of died off after that.
It looks like it wants to recover here, but it's got to chew through a whole bunch of overhead supply from the pre-market. So I don't know how high this one's going to go. Maybe volume comes in and just chews right through that, and we get up into over $2. But I think for now, 180 to 190 is about where I think this topping out is going to occur.
Ticker BHC here. This actually not on my radar, just seeing it here today. BHC, this nice looking breakout here on the daily. It's had a really good day yesterday, looking like some continuation here today. Volume not crazy, but BHC, Bosch Health Companies here. Nice little breakout. Nice little breakout there. That would have been one that would have been all right to hold overnight.
Yeah. Looks like Oust, that bull pennant didn't really resolve the way we'd like to see. It kind of started to fall off. Trying to recover and retake VWAP right now, but the volume just doesn't look great. So not sure that there's anything left here with Oust. Might come back, but not right now. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, one more thing regarding that Lexus there. Thomas also spot on here. The replacement parts for Lexus cost 4x those of Toyota. That is also correct.
Coin spiked to 270. This thing has just been, great all morning.
Aaron, do we have? I lost track of time here. One sec.
We're having too much fun. That's why.
Yeah, we did have too much fun here. I did have a note that someone else was going to jump on. Aaron Thomas, are you available?
Winner has English with WinZip. I'll look. WNNR. This is an acquisition corporation.
Guys, we are getting some news from Tesla. They just tweeted out on X that they have now delivered their 200,000th Tesla in the UK. So Tesla is trying to claw back some losses regarding the Show Me car this morning, but this is literally just breaking within the last 7 minutes from the Tesla Europe and Middle East X account. So it seems that Tesla is trying to gain some ground here. We are trying to get some news flows within Tesla. We have a lot to cover. We got the Sam Bankman-Fried still waiting for the decision to be held down on that. PCE tomorrow. And guess what, guys? We've officially closed out Q1 after today.
Yay, we did it.
And we are actually out of time here. Nick, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. We are going to see you next week as well. That is super exciting. I love when you get these holidays.
You got me, Smoked in it. You got me.
We are going to send you over to our ETF webinar. So if ETFs are something that you folks enjoy, definitely check it out. You don't have to do anything. I'm going to send you there right now. If I don't see you, have a great Easter, everybody. Happy weekend. We'll see you next week.